Hi everyone, I'm going to talk about this at the staff meeting, but as always I want to give you a reference that you can go back and look at later, or you can watch it before the staff meeting just to get a little background. So we are now in a pilot for Seesaw for Schools. There are a couple new features that I want to share with you that are going to be part of Seesaw that you can use along with this. There are also a bunch of other things I'm not going to go into right now that'll make it easier going into the next year. But what I want to talk about right now is just these three buttons right here that you see underneath every child's post. So the first one they've added with Seesaw for Schools is this teacher comments. If you click on that, you can write a private note that's tagged to that post, or record a note too to make a note of like having trouble with this, having trouble with that. Okay? Parents do not see that, of course. This next one is called the skills view. This one's very cool. So using Seesaw for assessment is really handy when you can have kids read sight words or count by fives or things like that instead of having to call them back one at a time. You can have them do it throughout a trimester, or you could have them do it as a class and then go back and listen to them later. When you tap on that button, you can assign skills and score them to that post. So maybe I wanted to score counts by tens, and you can actually do multiple. If you wanted to do that and another skill at the same time, you can do two at once. Then you can score at 1, 2, 3, or 4 stars. The reason they did stars is so you could assign your own value to them. Like maybe 4 stars is secure, 3 stars is developing, and then not yet, or whatever it is that you want to do. All right, but they color code them for you. So I can give them a score and then hit the check mark. And you can see now it's blue and it says I've assigned 1 skill to that. Parents do not see these, and the students don't see them either. This is just for you. Okay, I'll go back to that in a second, but let me move on to this next one. The folder, what you'll see added here, is a private teacher folder. This is really cool if you have kids doing assessments that you don't want to share with parents, or you have something you need to keep for later, but you don't want parents to see it. You just tap and it'll add that to a private teacher folder, and it will tell you that parents can no longer see that post. Okay, to undo that, I just tap again, get rid of that so as parents can see that, remove from private folder. Now here's how I do this. Add it to that private folder first, then approve it by hitting the green check mark, and parents will never see it. Okay, now let's go back to skills view, a little bit more about that. So let's say you wanted to do assessments with your kids. If you go up here to your menu, you'll see skills view has been added right here too. When I tap on that, it'll give you a grid of all of your skills that you've added and how kids did. So I can go down here and they're all color coded for how my kids did on these different skills. Okay. Now you can also go up here to skills view and say I only want to see just how kids did on counts by fives to 100. Or I just want to see how kids did. Let's see, how did Abby P do on all of her things? So you can do it by student or by skill or even by subject. Okay. Now these skills you do need to add yourself. And let me take you back to your feed view. You can easily do this right here when you tap on that skills button. Right down the bottom it says new skill. Now it's not clear to me whether Seesaw can add these for us like our report card has. I think really they want to leave it for you to enter your own, so you can name them the way you want to name them, and you can have them tagged the way you want, like it's say math or whatever. Okay, so that's the major differences that you'll see right away with Seesaw for Schools. Okay, there's a few other things I wanted to show you that Seesaw has just added. Now you will have to update your iPads. That means you'll have to make sure you have the newest version of Seesaw, and to do that, you just go into the App Store, go to Updates, and make sure your Seesaw has been updated. Okay. Now, what has been added is that when you click on text, it can actually add labels now. Okay, so you can add labels within a picture. You can add them to a video. You can just type out labels. So, for example, you could have kids do a worksheet in here and label things. You could have them label a picture with science things in it. Okay, so let me show you an example here. Let's say that I wanted to have kids take one of their pictures, Okay. All right, like gingerbread man right here. And they could add labels in ABC order. Okay. Or even better than that, the other cool thing about labels is you can add the labels and your kids can move them around. So for example, I added this one this morning with synonyms. I made these labels in here. Then my kids can tap the three buttons and hit copy and edit. This makes their own copy, and now they can go in and move them around. Okay, so they hit this T right here. They say add label, but instead of typing more labels, they just get rid of their keyboard, and now they can move these around wherever they want. So my kids have been doing these for word sorts, but really the idea is that you can add labels to a picture or just to a drawing. Like your kids can just have a blank piece of or a blank screen here on Seesaw and add their own labels or copy yours. One other thing they've added is if you're recording something, let's say you wanted to explain your sort to your parents. Before, you tap on the pencil and hit record. And as you were recording and explaining to parents, you would draw with a pencil. Now they've added this cursor, okay, this arrow. So you tap on that and it allows you just to point at things and talk about them rather than having to draw all over your page here. Now this arrow only comes up when you started recording. Okay, so if I'm not recording, if I haven't started recording, you will not see that arrow. Okay, so I hit the pencil, start recording, and that little arrow will pop up. So that's another new feature. All right, cool. Anyway, if you have questions about Seesaw for Schools or any of those new features, let me know. I'd be happy to show you how to put word sorts into here for your kids and practice using the labels or anything else you might have questions with for assessment. Marie and I did quite a bit with assessment for our kids using Seesaw. All right. Hopefully you got something out of that.